Louie, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Me too. Tell me, who is Louie Westwood?
That is like the biggest question in the world. Also, right, here's the thing. I have about 1 million names and it gets so confusing. So Louie Westwood is my stage name, was my stage name. I don't use it anymore because I'm not like a musical theatre actor. Well, I went to drama school and my real name, my birth name is Lewis Sanders, and everyone always called me Louie, so I was going to change it to Louis Sanders when I left drama school for equity, to be an actor, and also because I thought it sounded better, because I was like, too many S's. Anyway, that's really boring. But Lou Sanders had gone, so I couldn't have Louis Sanders, so they were like, you need to go for another name, so I went for Louie Westwood. Westwood's my mum's maiden name.
So the names are chosen through family connections?
Yeah, it was always like...
things that meant something to you?
Yeah, definitely. So I was Louie Westwood, and then obviously started doing drag, and then when you do drag, it's like, what's your name? And it's like, oh my God.
So tell me how you came up with your drag name. That's interesting, right?
Yeah. Do you know what? I was one of those people where it was like, I would come up with drag names, and I'd be like, I wasn't even a drag queen at the time. I'd be like, my drag name is gonna be Madonna Kebab. And like, I would come up with like, I was gonna be Chelsea Bun, I was gonna be Burger Queen, what else was I going to be? But I was at a party, I was at a house party, and I said something a little bit catty, a little bit bitchy, and I used to find it really funny. Like, if you said something like that, you go like, oh, meow, saucer of milk. And then my friend was like, yeah, this kitty's got claws. And then as soon as I heard it, I was like,
clicked.
That's my drag name. And I was not a drag queen at the time. I was like, when I do though, when the opportunity arises, and literally like, it was like 6 months later, my friend was like, do you want to be part of this Girls Aloud tribute band? And I was like, yes, I do. And my drag name is Kitty Scott Claus.
So you were prepared, you manifested
I
that,
know,
right? So
literally.
all these bouncing off these names and people going, no, and then Kitty sticks, right?
There we go, that's the way it is.
So where did the desire to be a drag come from? Where's that influence?
Growing up, I was always like, I want to do musical theatre. Musical theatre is my dream, and I loved musical theatre. Looking at it now from like a different set of eyes and a set of experiences, it's like, it's so funny, like, because growing up, I only ever wanted to play the girl parts. When I went to drama school, they would be like, what part do you want to play in the West End right now? And I'd be like, I would be a brilliant Elle Woods in Legally Blonde, or I would be a brilliant Glinda, or I could do Roxy Hart in Chicago. And they were like, that's not gonna happen though. Like, you're a boy, so you need to think of what boy parts you're gonna play. And I was like, oh, but they don't have nice costumes, they don't have nice wigs, they don't get good, like, funny songs, they don't get camp moments. I was like, I wanna be like the girl parts.
Did you fight it as well?
Yeah.
Because other boys could have been like, oh, that's what I need to do, I need to conform. And the one thing that's so clear about you is you've not, so that was from a young age, because that's the bit I wanted to get to. So you resisted archaic kind of views and went, I'm doing it my way.
And I remember like going to drama school, I walked into my first singing lesson and walked in and I was like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. I just moved down from Birmingham and I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited.
How old are you at this point?
I was 18. Okay. So when I went to drama school, walked in and I was like, oh my God, hello, I'm Louie, like, nice to meet you. And the singing teacher, I remember they were like, you need to stop, you need to turn around, you need to go out the door, you need to come and get back again and do that as a man. And I remember just being like, oh, okay. And like, it takes you back. Like, I remember just being like, oh, okay, well, I was just being myself. And I just thought, okay, like, we're not acting now, you know, like, whatever. So I remember like having to go out and like come back in and thinking like, I remember it would have been so bad as well. I would have been like, hello, I'm Louie, and I'm here to do some singing. Like putting on like a deep mask voice, and it's like, well, that's not me. That's not authentic. That is not what I do. And I remember being at drama school. I was at drama school for 3 years. There came a point in my third year, they were holding auditions for, Elaine Page was doing this like musical TV program, and Glee was very big at the time. And I remember there was a boy on Glee who used to sing girl songs, and I remember thinking like, I could do that. Like I could do that, and I would like kill it. And I remember like having this in the back of my head, and just like having years of drama school being like, you need to be a boy, you need to be a man, you need to, because you're so put into a box in a drama school situation, and you're so, especially in like musical theatre, it's like if you want to work, you have to conform to.
Isn't that a shame though? Because that's creativity.
Yeah.
That's why it all stimulates from that, and yet they're trying to put them in a box. Surely the most amazing creativity comes from no boundaries, no walls.
Well, you'd think. I don't know. I think I was at drama school like 2011 to 2014, I think it was. And so it's like, but like going to drama school, I was talking to my manager, Molly, about it. I was like, I feel like drama school was like stuck in the 90s, and it was stuck with that mentality of like, well, if you want to work, you've got to be slim, and you've got to be slender, and you've got to be tanned, and this, that, the other. And like, they do so much to break you down as an individual. It's like no makeup, no hair dye, you have to have like a natural hair colour. It's like nothing that will add to the mask that is you. They want to strip you back. And then I remember doing all that and just still thinking like, I could have a bit of concealer on, like no one would know. I could have a nude set of Acrylics.
Has that changed though? Like,
oh my God.
Cool. And you've obviously lived through this period, right?
Yeah.
From walking to and being told to go back out and come back a different person, you're like, that's me.
Yeah.
So what have you noticed from your own personal perspective of how things have changed? Because I feel like there's a real embracing of people being their authentic self, right?
Yeah, I think it's so important. I think you have to be. Like when I was in my third year of college, I was doing auditions for this Elaine Page show, and they were like, you need to sing, these are the boy songs, these are the girl songs. And I was like, I'm going to sing a girl song. And I was like, because it's for TV, they'll love that. There's a storyline in that TV producer brain on already. And the head of dance took me into her office and she was like, you categorically cannot do this. You will be like a laughing stock. You will never work if you do this. And I remember thinking like, oh my God, like.
So what did you do?
I did a boy song.
So you conformed at that point?
I conformed. But I remember like going out and then like leaving drama school and then being like, you will only work if you do the fat funny friend, and if you do this part, and if you sing this song. And
so they pigeonholed you?
Totally. And I remember like my first job I booked by singing from a chorus line, which is a girl song. It's like, I remember just being like, oh, so they don't know everything. That's not the be all and end all. And if for me to get ahead, I've just sang a girl song. Well, it's clearly not making me not work, you know? No. So I remember like little things like that would happen. I would be like, oh, okay, like.
But these knocks that you've taken and these pushbacks, resistance, if you like, you clearly then gone into a place where you've smashed those doors down and been able to be you, the person you want to be, right? Tell me about the journey there. Were there some dark times? Was there some loneliness where you felt isolated? And you can't be yourself, right? If we can't be ourselves, we can't be true to our purpose, our passion. Yeah. Did you have some dark times?
Oh my God, completely. I think like leaving drama school and like becoming an adult and a musical theatre performer, like you definitely think like there's so many knockbacks and there's so many like rejections, and like everyone says like you get used to it, you get used to the rejection. It's like you are also a human being at the end of the day, and it's like there's no other job in the world where you would go and queue outside for 3 hours to then come in, sing 16 bars and then be told like, no, that's enough for today.
And you poured your heart out into that as well, right?
Yeah. And it's like, I remember like doing auditions and being like, I got a recall once because I was blonde. And it was like, well, how does this make sense? Like none of this makes sense.
Very shallow, isn't it? So shallow. Are you a better version of Louie now because of the rejection?
Yeah,
I definitely do you feel
think
that?
So. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would be here without like.
Because it's built your resilience, and it's probably like, made you want, at a certain point, put almost like a kind of a cork in the bottle. There must have been a little bit like, I'm having it, and I'm doing it.
Totally.
So tell me about that bit. So when did you get that moment really to feel like you expressed yourself in the way that you best are, if you like?
I think when the opportunity arose for me to start doing drag, that's when I was just like, oh my God, I can't take it anymore. I got to the point with musical theatre where it was like, you get told to stand in this position, under this light, wear this costume, have your hair this way. Like everything is so controlled, and it's like, there's no authenticity about it. There's no like spontaneity. And I also think I'm too naughty as a person to do musical theatre, because I do musical theatre jobs now and I'm like, day one, I'm like, how can I mess around? How can I make people laugh? And it's like, oh my God.
But isn't that what the audience is craving, right?
That's what I
mean, I'm enjoying this now as natural.
I'd be there like, I'm watching for them to crack. Yeah. I'm there like, go on, watch them.
I don't know what you're going to do next. Yeah. And that's great. Don't get me wrong. Of course, there needs to be some choreography and script. But if you can allow people to be themselves, which is, again, going back to what is consuming us all now is social media. If you're not in the theatre and you're not being entertained in the way that you would like to, then you are you're hunting out people that entertain you through being themselves.
Yeah.
Rather than all polished and
exactly
manicured and, like you said, the lighting and stand here and so on.
Social media is only like what you see on social media is only, I remember like looking at my Instagram, like you go through it and it's like, oh my God, they're doing incredible things, that's amazing. And it's like, you forget, like, because it's only the very like polished version of yourself that you put out there, you publish for the world to see. You want to put your best foot forward. You want people to think like, wow, like goals, absolute goals, like looking at them and their lives. And it's like, they could be really lonely and you wouldn't know,
No.
It's
a powerful message here because there's a lot of people that are locked up.
Yeah.
Locked up with their emotions and not living, again, that purpose, that passion.
Yeah.
And yet you've allowed yourself to get boxed before. You've taken those hits.
Totally.
But you've probably not, you've not changed. You've not,
No.
you've had a North Star that you're still aiming for.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to people, whether they're young or old? That could be young, aspirational people that feel like they can't express themselves, or it could be people that have, and it's really sad to say, it could be well into adulthood and are now listening to you or watching and going, oh my God, I just want to let myself out. But they won't because the fear of judgment.
Fear of rejection.
And rejection.
Yeah.
What's your advice there?
I think the biggest piece of advice I ever got was to never be a Diet Coke version of yourself. You want to go into things and you want to be a full fat version. Like, why would you go into a situation and it's like if you go on a first date, you don't go in like watering yourself down and it's like, okay, I know I do this and I know that's not an attractive quality, so I'm going to bring that back and I'm going to hold myself back. And it's like, but they're going to catch you out eventually. They're going to see. Like if you go on a second date, you're probably going to slip up and then they'll be like, who's this? Who's this guy? Like what's with the accent you were putting on? And it's like, you need to go into it authentically and embracing who you are, because that's your superpower. I think like individuality and like growing up for me, I was obsessed, so obsessed with the Spice Girls. And what I love the most about them is that they were all so individual, but yet they were so like unified and so like strong as a group, and until Jerry left, but whatever.
I bet it was a heartbreaking moment for you.
Oh my God.
I felt it then.
Hell. I'll never get over it, Jerry. But no, like it's what I loved and what drew me to the Spice Girls. It was like you can see aspects of yourself in each of the 5 of them, and it's like it's I mean, amazing marketing, brilliant marketing, but it's like for a young queer boy looking at these like 5 women who are all so different, it's like you see yourself in it, and it's like seeing that, it's like I see myself and I see like, oh my God, I want to do that, and it like anything is possible.
So you saw yourself in the Spice Girls,
yeah,
and they were role models for you. What about you now being a role model for a young queer boy? Do you embrace that? Do you feel that? And do you have experience of people almost outpouring to you?
Yeah.
Because that must be super fulfilling for you,
Oh my
right?
God, it's wild.
Suddenly, and again, not being alone anymore. You've got these people that potentially are alone in their world, and they see Louie being who he wants to be and wearing the multi-names at the beginning. There are lots of different names you can be and flourishing.
Totally. I mean, we're so lucky enough to be able to do RuPaul's Drag Con, which happens in January every year, and we get to meet everyone, and it's incredible. And you meet like the grannies and the granddads and the aunties and the uncles, and you meet like children, and it's like you meet people from like all facets of life, and like people that you would not think like, oh, they watch Drag Race, they love Drag Race. And it's like, again, like the Spice Girls were for me, it's like people watch RuPaul's Drag Race and they have their queens that they relate to, and they understand, they see themselves in, and it's like you meet so many people, and it's like, for me, meeting like young queer fans is incredible, because it's like, oh my God, like the fact that like I wish I saw someone like myself on TV growing up.
That's why that's why you're so important as a role model, right?
And it's like, oh my God, if I can do this, just think like what they can do. And it's like this is only the beginning, Like if the Spice Girls led me to here, I can lead someone somewhere else, It's like,
yeah, I love that.
The world's your oyster.
So when you are in full drag as Kitty Scott Claus, is that like, the only thing I can relate it to is as a youngster putting on a cowboy hat and being a cowboy, running around with a cap gun and feeling like the cowboy I want to be.
Yeah.
Someone dressing up as James Bond, and that night being James Bond. And then you come back to being Louie.
Yeah.
Do you elevate? Do you go into a place?
No.
Or do you actually stay as Louie, but just different? Do you know what I mean? Because the positivity of you is magnetic. I can't imagine you being any different, and I just want to. So is it just literally a change of?
The thing is, I'm an attention seeker through and through. I'm like Tinkerbell. I need the applause, or I'm going to die. But like literally, you put a wig on me, I'm exactly the same. I don't have like. I know drag queens who like they'll become the queen, the diva, when they put the wig on, and it'll be, and it'll be like you can sense when they arrive. Whereas for me, I'm like it's the same. Regardless.
So if you were sat here now in full drag, you'd be sat the same way.
Oh
you'd be talking the same way.
Totally the same. I really don't see a difference.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe people.
I thought my perception was that you would be different, and there'd be a much more dramatic kind of in character. Whereas actually,
so camp.
So it's in here.
Yeah, literally,
brilliant.
It's in the brain.
And what's lovely as well is the question was sort of loaded because you clearly seem super positive and happy right now. And it doesn't actually make you any happier when you're in drag. And I wondered if there was a kind of pining moment to put the whole stuff on, to then flourish as yourself and thrive, but then have to be a bit more subdued as Louie.
No.
There's none of that.
No, like I said, it's like, why be a Diet Coke version of yourself?
But that's constant.
Totally. And it like, once you realise that, it's like my secret for life. It's like, oh my God. There's also a Judy Garland quote, I think it's Judy Garland, when she's like, don't be a second-rate version of somebody else, just be yourself, or something like that. Like, that's...
These are great quotes.
But
if someone was watching you now and seeing just how you're an extreme of where some people can't even get to, some people won't even post on social media because they're too afraid of being judged. We sort of touched on that earlier. But in terms of that advice to be yourself, you know, to actually just take that plunge of, look, just embrace it. What's the worst that can happen? And if someone was watching this now going, I can't, I'll leave myself open to not just judgment, but also you must have been subject to criticism and, you know, and all sorts of negative, nasty comments. How do you deal with that? How do you block that out? What's your coping mechanism?
Do you know, I think like as soon as you realise, it's like, I'm very much on a fitness craze at the moment. I'm fully obsessed. And I remember going to the gym, when I first started going to the gym, I was like, I don't want to go because there's going to be people looking at me and then they'll be like judging me because I don't know how to use the equipment right and I don't know how this goes. So I'm going to have to ask someone.
It's actually quite refreshing though. You think like that because you're so positive. I can't imagine you thinking like that.
And then it's like, as soon as you realise, it's like, hang on, everyone's so like wrapped up in their own lives and what they've got going on. It's like, you don't pay attention to anyone else. And as soon as you realise that, it's like, oh, everyone's got their own on.
It's so true though, right?
And it's like, no one
overthink
cares.
The whole thing that people are
totally. And I think it's so easy to get to that point with like, especially social media and putting things out there. And it's like, what is the worst that can happen? A lot of the time, like if I'm on TikTok or Instagram, the content I enjoy the most is the organic, where it's like someone will be like, I'm probably going to delete this in a bit. It's like, no, I'm invested. Now you said that, I'm invested because it's organic and it's real and it's like no pretense. There's no filters and it's just real, raw emotion. That's what I love.
You're a pleasure to it because I'm craving authenticity.
Yeah.
And so anyone that comes on to Extreme Life Stories is invited for that reason. So this is just a pleasure for me. What's the kind of North Star for you? So you love being the centre of attention. There's things you've already done that give you the perspective and experience to know what you enjoy. The drag race side of things sounds like it's a mega fun thing for you.
Yeah.
But if you could do anything that you haven't done yet, what would it be?
Oh my God. Well, now my goal is I want an okay wedding and I'm practicing my Slavic stare because I want to become the next First Lady. So I'm doing a lot of Melania, you know. I'm going to get a big hat so I don't actually have to kiss anyone. Like I'm taking advice, you know. And I want a Birkin bag, so, you know, setting the goals. But no, I think like for me, I just want to keep like, I feel like going on a show like Drag Race gives you such a platform, which like without, you would never get, you would never have, or would be lucky enough to have that platform. So like, I just want to keep like pushing and being the positive queer representation that like wasn't on TV when I grew up. When I grew up, if there was a gay person in the program, they were the joke, or it was like, they've been murdered. And it was like, oh, okay, so those are my two options. I'm either the joke or I'm gonna get killed.
Is that changing now? Because there's a huge change in that LGBTQ.
Totally, I think so.
Yeah,
I hope
and you're
so.
probably pioneering that.
Yeah.
So is there a scenario where you could be, as Kitty as well, right? You could actually be a media star on the TV, mainstream, things that would give you that centre of attention that you love, the theatre and so on. Is that something are those roles there, or do you feel like they're still in the kind of minority, if you like?
With musical theatre and like theatre, I feel like that is still so in the past. And I've got so many friends that are pushing the way and breaking boundaries. My friend River, who was on my season of Drag Race, has just done the Steps musical. And it's like, oh my God, that's incredible. Like you're doing like a part that is a drag queen, but then you also get to do like the boy stuff as well. And it's like doing stuff like that. And like the Vivian with what Viv did with Wizard of Oz and stuff like that. It's like amazing that it's like we're seeing really positive queer role models showing that like it doesn't have to be like, yes, the Wicked Witch of the West is traditionally a middle-aged woman, but what's to stop an angry homosexual do it? You know, like a sassy gay, oh my God, let's break down the Wizard of Oz. The Wicked Witch, she's sassy. That could be a gay man, and so could Glinda. I'd be a good Glinda.
And I think we're all craving that, right? There's been all sorts, there was a show called Anne Juliet, I don't know if you saw it. And we went to see it on New Year's Eve about 2-3 years ago as a family. Didn't know what to expect. Absolutely brilliant. Just mixing things up, just changing the narrative. I think we're all craving that because you know, if it's Disney churning out a number 3, number 4, number 5 of this, or a different version of what you just said, I'd go and watch that.
Yeah,
it's entertaining, right?
Exactly that.
You've got a lot that you could attribute to being successful, including sort of breaking stigma and very much sort of building identity around being yourself. I feel like you're on a journey which is clearly still got a long way to go, but right now, how do you define success?
I think success is defined by happiness, and it's like fulfillment in your life. How fulfilled you feel, and it's like I go to bed every day and I just think like, oh my God, like if I could have told myself like 5 years ago this would be where my life is, I would be like, this is amazing. And it's like, oh my God, and like having a positive mindset I think is so important. I think like obviously you have bad days and you have like life is, in the words of Ronan Keating, life is a roller coaster, you've just got to ride it. I hope that was Ronan Keating that said that. But like it's so true. It's like you go through the highs, you go through the lows.
Great attitude. I can feel it's magnetic from you.
Yeah.
Where's that positivity come from? Has it always been there? Because I know you've had times, but you've always been clearly staying focused on getting through, knocking over obstacles.
Yeah.
Was that through your upbringing, or where's this positivity?
So. My parents are really positive, and like they'll always look for the best in people. And I think having that growing up as like a queer child who was bullied, and it's like, but regardless of that, like be nice to people because you never know what they're going through. And I think like growing up having that mindset, thinking like, okay, these boys are picking on me at school, but do you know what? I'm going to rise above. And like it took years of like realizing, oh, that is actually the way to do it. As annoying as it is to listen to your parents, like actually do it. Because
so your parents were a voice in your head. So it wasn't just you working with yourself. So they've had to go through their own journey of knowing that their boy is not going to grow up in the imagination every parent has. No. And then you've got to get fully supportive of that and help with all sorts of unknowns.
Totally.
They sound like they're a really important part of your
Incredible.
shaping.
Yeah, no, it's so good. And I'm one of 6 kids, and we're all so different. The rest of them have like, I say like normal jobs, like, but they are very much like my older brother's an accountant, then one's a builder, my sister is training to be a midwife, like they've all got like...
And do they embrace you for who you are?
Yeah,
is that brilliant?
So much.
So the whole family unit works actually because there's a whole embracing. And are they all as positive as you? I can't imagine anyone as big as positive.
Oh my God, no, they are, I swear.
Wow, what a family.
Wild. Yeah, and it's so fun when we get together because it is just like, I feel like growing up with, I've got like 4 brothers, and it's like the banter is so funny. I mean, I like dishing it out as much as the next one, and it's like, oh my God, who can go the furthest?
I love that. It shows you how much is shaped from a young age. So I touched earlier that there could be youngsters or there could be people that have got into maturity and have got themselves locked up. Specifically with drag, have you spoken to other men that have come to you and gone, I wish I could be like you, I've got these thoughts, that's where I'd like to be, or dare I say, not quite understanding themselves and coming to you asking questions, because that's what it's about, curiosity. Right? Everything I'm asking you now comes from a place of curiosity.
Totally.
If you close that off, it's a dark and lonely place to be. Have you got a sort of barometer now on how many more people like yourself, young or old, are trapped and potentially wanting to come out?
I mean, I think there's a bit of a drag queen in everyone.
Well, this is...
But it's like, you wake up in the morning, like RuPaul says, you wake up in the morning, regardless of your job, you put your drag on and you go to work. And it's like your drag could be putting your office clothes on and going and doing your 9 to 5. And it's like, we're all born naked and the rest is drag. And it is so true. It's
how we choose to look. That's
exactly.
That's kind of where I was going with it.
And it's like...
and you take it to an extreme as far as society is concerned.
Sure.
But then there's other people in the room, we're all wearing different things today. We all choose what to wear, and there's this whole spectrum, and some people probably would love to be a lot more flamboyant, reflecting their true feelings of, and then, and it's just whether you inspire people to do that, whether you get an outpouring from people asking you about it.
Totally, yeah. I remember also like being, like when I first started doing drag, again, it's like breaking down these walls of being like, oh, should I wear this? I don't know if I should wear this. I remember I had a really curly wig, and it was just like, it was like very 70s curly wig, and I remember I had it in the dressing room and I was like, I don't think I should wear it. And my drag sister Margot, she was like, who's telling you can't wear it? Wear the wig. Like, you'll feel great in it. And it's like, as soon as you allow yourself the freedom to put the wig on and like go out there and feel like Olivia Newton-John, it's like, oh yeah. Again, everyone's got their own like problems going on, not problems, but like they've got their own things going on in their heads, that it's like, they just want a good time, you know?
Well, we all seek entertainment, and we all seek escapism.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is just through our eyes. It could be doom scrolling on social media, going to watch something at the theatre and so on. Whereas let's bring Drag Race up, right? Because you come alive when you talk about that.
Yeah.
So you get to go out in your drag, but you're dancing, you're singing. So it's a whole ecosystem of fueling what you actually enjoy.
Yeah, totally. It's so perfect.
There's not enough of that, right? And some people don't have that outlet.
No.
So, but tell me what does happen at Drag Race. I'm really interested.
Oh my God. I mean, it's wild. You get trapped in a hotel room and they sellotape you in. It's like all the things you hear about are so true, and it's like, what? Oh my God, that's it.
I don't know about it.
Oh my God.
What?
Like it's like you give your phone away, like so you have no contact.
So you're fully present.
But that's the thing, it's like you're fully present. And so when you're in the workroom with the other queens, it's like, this is everything I'm living for, because I've got nothing going on in the outside world. Also, when we filmed season 3 of UK Drag Race, my first season, we were in the pandemic. We were in lockdown. So it was like, I really have nothing going on. So I'm gonna live for every moment of this. And I remember my friend Cheryl gave me advice. She was on the first series of Drag Race UK. Before I went away to film, she was like, you need to live every day as if you know you're gonna get eliminated, because then you don't care. You're just gonna go and you're gonna say the funny thing, or you're gonna do a little bit extra, you know, because you just think like, well, what's the worst that can happen? And that is literally like the key to life. Is like, what is the worst that could happen?
I love that. What does an average day look like for you? And do you have like a morning routine? You mentioned fitness.
I have no 2 days which are the same, but I never feel like I'm working a day in my life, because every day is just so fun. And it's so true. Like I always make sure, so I'm training for London Marathon at the moment, which is amazing. So like this morning I woke up, I did my LED face mask, because again, very easily influenced. I see it on TikTok and apparently it's great for
anti-aging. They keep popping up on mine.
I'm literally like, I need that. So I do that for like 5 minutes in the morning. I'm like, oh, ready to do the day. And then I'll have my like lemon and lime and ginger water. And then I went and did a 16-mile run this morning, and then went for a swim, and then I'm here now. And then it's like, I go home and then I'm like, okay, I know I've got to do a wig for tomorrow. And I know I've got to find an outfit, sort an outfit. Like, you know, it's like, I literally feel like my life is like Barbie. It's like every day it's like you put on a different outfit and you become that character. If you got down, got some bad news and so on, how do you bounce back from that? Because I can't imagine anything putting you down for long. So, you know, in real life, something's going to not go right for you. What do you then do? Do you go for another run? Let me tell you, the other day, my washing machine broke, and oh my God, hell on earth. No, this is so superficial, but I remember literally I'd gone for a run and I was feeling great, and I was like, oh, my bed sheets will all be clean, and I got home and I was like, it's full of water. It's all not your working. Plans ruined. I was like, oh my God, no. And do you know when it's just like, we've just had the end of the tax year, so I've had to pay my tax bill, and then now it's like, I've got to buy a new washing machine, I've got to pay for a plumber to come out and like fit it and everything, and you're just there like, oh my God. But I think like realising like, this is so menial. Like so everything. You compartmentalise. Yeah,
you go,
totally.
Just fix it, sort it.
And it's like, money will come and go. And this is so like, this is a problem for today. Tomorrow, it's not gonna be a problem tomorrow. And like next week, I'll have a new washing machine. It's fine. Like you deal the deck of cards that life throws at you, and you just get on with it. Because you can't stop, like you can't sit around like moping. Like I feel like if I did just sit and like, oh, someone put a bad comment on my Instagram, I'd be, oh my God, I'd never get anywhere. It's like, yeah, but it's amazing how many people do. That's why I asked you. Yeah. And I can be guilty of it. There's an expression of don't water the weeds, water the flowers. Yeah. And so something might not go right, and then I can dwell on it, and I have to pull myself out of that and go, hey, come on. And I think it's so easy as well with like negative comments on social media to almost like go to, I remember like, I would go to try and prove them right, like not prove them wrong, really. Like so you would respond and then you get into a thread of that's a negative spiral. And then you get caught into it, and it's like I remember like you catch yourself and you're like, oh my God, why am I even doing this? Like I've got so many positive comments, people saying you look great, and it's like I'm ignoring all of those and I'm going for this one, and it's like this is not helpful to anyone. Negative attracts negative, positive attracts positive. So let's like make this a positive world. The world is scary enough right now. So true. Like we need to embrace the positivity, you know, have a laugh. It's not that deep. No. It's just cross-dressing. I love it. I love it. This is the most positive conversation I've had, and I can't believe it's already come to an end, because you are such a pleasure to talk with, Louie. Thank you so much. You're an inspiration. You are a role model for anyone and everyone that just doesn't take life so seriously. Let it get on top of you. And
take the negatives, remove them, focus on the positives. You're awesome. Thank you for making time to talk to me.
No, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
It's been so fun.